to get underway right now. I want to welcome you all to the 52nd induction for the Allegheny-Kiski Valley Sports Hall of Fame. We are at a new venue this year. We also have some special features. We hope you have enjoyed the loop of previous inductees and previous action shots that we've assembled here for you this evening. Going into tonight, we have 382 inductees into our hall over the past 51 years, and after tonight, we will have 392. So this evening, at our new venue, we will present 10 new inductees, along with 13 of the finest student athletes imaginable to represent our area. We will start our buffet within a few minutes. The buffet tables are located to my left under the two red exit signs, and there will be attendants and associates here at the Syria Shriner Center, or at the Pittsburgh Shriner Center, to come on and lead you by table. The restrooms are located also near the buffet table, and there's one toward my right, toward the rear of the building here. So, to get us going before we eat, I'd like to introduce our chairman, Larry Lutz, for the invocation. Larry?
Thank you all and welcome. This is going to be a wonderful night. I can tell it's such an enthusiastic crowd. It's just so nice to see so many familiar faces, past inductees. By the way, if you haven't signed in at the entrance, we want to announce names of past inductees in attendance. So make sure you do that before we get to the program part. If you could bow your heads, please. Tonight is a night of gratitude and celebration. We are so grateful to live in a time and a place where God has granted us the luxury and the privilege of participating in sports in this beautiful part of the world, the Alle-Kiski Valley. Let us never forget how lucky and how blessed we are to be here tonight, to treasure our past and to share our hope for the future. I'd also ask you to keep in your prayers our board member, Sam Huey, who could not be here tonight because of some emergency surgery. So, in God's name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Larry, and now we'll wait, please, until your table is called by the associates here at the Shrine Center, and let's eat. And I'd first like to call up our Allegheny County Labor Council Courage Player of the Year, Andrew Gratz-Miller from Burrell High School. Andrew is currently a senior at Burrell High School, a special needs student with a 4.0 GPA. He is a 4-year member of Burrell's varsity football team, following his late father's footsteps. He lettered at football as well as bocce. He is a 4-year member of Burrell's Bowling Club and a 3-year member of the varsity track team. Andrew will be attending Duquesne University in the fall through the St. Anthony's program, where he will learn even more valuable life skills. Now, late in the football season, Andrew scored a touchdown for Burrell High School. Now, we know in the past there's been situations where the coaches and the principals get together before the game and say, hey, late in the game, let's get everybody to part the Red Sea and let so-and-so score. But in Andrew's situation, it was not pre-planned. It was an actual football play where he scored a touchdown and he received the game ball after. And if you don't believe me, let's take a look. Now watch afterwards in the post-game huddle. Andrew, you got a touchdown, you got the game ball. Nobody can ever take that away from you. Andrew Gratzmiller from Borough High School, our Courage Award winner for 2023. Our first inductee this evening. Back in the early days of girls basketball, it was hard to even find coaches. It was a sport that hadn't quite caught on yet, and there was a lot of trials and tribulations, but Tom Sully came along at Freeport and had some excellent teams over the years. In fact, they made the PIAA playoffs 3 times during his tenure. He garnered 299 career coaching victories, and instead of coming back for number 300, he decided to call it quits, but he had an outstanding career, and tonight he's going into the Hall of Fame. So let's welcome from Freeport High School, Tom Sully.
Thank you, George. First of all, I'd like to thank Fred Soilers for nominating me for induction into the Hall, and to the members that voted for me. I'm truly honored. I would also like to congratulate the other honorees for their induction into the Hall, and congratulate the student athletes from the various high schools that are being honored tonight. Thank you to all my former players that are here tonight. A lot of them surprised me because I didn't expect to see them. And also my good buddies from our lunch group that meet every Tuesday. The people I owe the most to are my parents and brothers. They taught me at a young age growing up in Arnold that hard work is the secret to success. Even though I was the baby of the family, nothing came easy for me. Coaching also comes with many sacrifices from your family. My son Lou, who's my oldest, who lives in Boston, was unable to attend. My daughter Tina and my youngest son Todd are here. When they were young, they spent many evenings in the back gym at Freeport during my practices, and they attended many of my games. I tried my best to work around their schedule so that when they got older, I could be there for them. I would also like to thank my wife Linda, who I wish could have been here tonight, but passed away 16 years ago, losing her battle with colon cancer. She was the reason I was able to coach for 25 years. She was very supportive and understanding of the time coaching takes away from your family. She deserves the honor just as much as I do, because she worked very hard to juggle her life around home, work, and activities. The other family members here tonight did not have to go through those 25 years of sacrificing, but my son-in-law Kevin and my fiancée Diane. I also like to thank the other coaches in the district for their cooperation and flexibility. When I was coaching, Freeport only had one gymnasium, and Coach Davies and I would sit down together at the beginning of school, and we'd make the entire schedule for the season. With the size of Freeport, you have to share student athletes with other school activity sponsors and coaches. So we just did our best to work together. So let me tell you how this all started. I coached 7th and 8th grade boys basketball, and Dr. Mannion, who was the superintendent at the time, asked me if I was interested in applying for the head girls basketball job. Everyone told me I was crazy to even attempt it because the program was a mess and they said the girls couldn't win. Well, I proved them all wrong because the first season we won 2 games, and that was a school record. I'd written 2 program goals when I started that I thought was necessary for us to be successful and have a winning attitude. The first goal was for the girls to earn respect as individuals and as a team. Years before I started coaching, the girls lost a game 100-2 to a quad A school, and they constantly were reminded of it. I never had trouble getting exhibition games in those early years from the bigger schools because we were an easy win. But once we started beating them, all of a sudden their schedule was full and they didn't have room for us. So we got the respect that we needed. The second goal was the players had to gain self-confidence. As soon as things didn't go their way, they kind of gave up. And I would tell them, you can't change what happened, so forget about it. Just don't let it happen again. Once we reached those two goals, the winning attitude started. Dave Panach, my assistant coach, was instrumental in helping me to turn the program around. We were together for 15 years. We used to kid, we were together longer than most marriages. He taught in a junior high and would work with the girls who were interested in playing basketball before and after school. We did not have a junior high program at the time, so he did this without pay. When I get asked, how could you coach girls for 25 years? And my answer was simple. I coach athletes, not girls. And the program's growth and success was possible because of the players' hard work and dedication. I was truly blessed to have outstanding athletes. After 16 years of principal, after 16 years I became an elementary principal and I had to resign as coach. But the time was great for my family because I was able to attend many of their activities. When I attended basketball games, I would sit away by myself away from the other parents. I had a different perspective of the game and I didn't want to listen to them coach from the stands. During halftime of one of my daughter's games, my wife came up to me and asked, why did Coach Duran take our daughter out of the game? And my answer to her was, I don't know what took him so long. I would have taken her out long before because she's playing terrible. That wasn't the answer she expected and walked away. I eventually went back to coaching Freeport basketball after 4 years and the team was back in the playoffs. When the program was back on its feet, Kurt Lorigan, who was a JV coach at the time, took over. 2 seasons later, they were in the WPIL finals. My final coaching stop was at Penn State, New Kensington. Their AD, Coach Darby, called me to see if I was interested in starting up a program that's been idle for 25 years. He was very convincing, so I decided to do it. I approached one of my former players, Carol Perose, to be my assistant. She's a very dedicated individual, outstanding player, and a very successful coach at Valley. We spent a year and a half trying to recruit players. In our second full season, we were able to find a team ready to compete. Most of our conference games were either in the central or the eastern part of the state. So we had to take a coach bus to get to our games. When I went to get on the bus for our first away game, I noticed that the driver was a basketball official, Bob Sport, and he officiated many of my high school games. I said, what are you doing driving the bus? You can't see. And all kidding aside, he was an excellent official and an excellent bus driver. We made it to the Western Finals the last 2 years and the program was starting to show progress. Carol wasn't just important to the team's success, she was the lifeline when my family needed it most. After finding out that my wife had stage 4 colon cancer, Carol went to our away games on her own as I stayed home to take care of my wife. At the end of the season, I officially retired from coaching. I've been asked why I stopped coaching at Freeport when I only had 1 win for 300. I really never coached to see how many wins I could get. And since I had the school record for wins with 2 the first season, I wasn't really worried. I coached so I could hopefully make a difference in these girls' lives, and hopefully I did. I would like to end with 3 simple rules of life. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. And if you don't step forward, you're always in the same place. Thank you.
Next student athlete we'd like to call up is Nick Kersey from Apollo Ridge High School, the Valley News Dispatch Offensive Football Player of the Year. Academically, he's a member of the National Honor Society, the Honor Roll, Student Council President, and Senior Class Secretary. Athletically, he's a signee with Duquesne University football, multiple-time All-Conference linebacker, All-Conference running back from 2022, and a place in the WPIAL discus competition also in 2022. Among the awards, the Academic Excellent Awards, 2020, 21, and 22. And we mentioned already the AK Valley Offensive Football Player of the Year, Indiana Gazette All-Area Team, Indiana Gazette Athlete of the Week, and Cover 3 Athletics 2A All-Star. His hobbies include watching football, watching movies with his family, and gaming. You ever got any tips for us? Organizations he's in at Apollo Ridge High School, plenty of them, and also the North Apollo Church of God, where he's a volunteer there. He's a student council chief of concessions and a member of the youth group at the North Apollo Church. And we mentioned already he will be attending Duquesne University starting in the fall to study secondary math education to keep the education and the family going as a tradition. And he will play football for the Dukes. Nick Kersey from Apollo Ridge High School. We've had many inductees over since this Hall of Fame started back in 1970 by the late Bob Tattern, radio announcer for WKPA Radio in New Kensington and Cable Channel 3 for many years, and also Bob Schenk, another co-founder, was the sports editor at the Valley News Dispatch for many years. During that time, we have had an absolute ton of inductees from Springdale High School. Some are here tonight, and we have another one to introduce to you. Great softball player and a great multi-sport athlete, and a member of the Geneva College Hall of Fame after her high school years. Let's welcome to the Hall of Fame, Erin Exler-Bish.
Good evening, everyone. To start, I'm so humbled and grateful to be here tonight, to be surrounded by some of the best from the area I grew up in. I was a two-time All-American at Geneva College. My batting average was ranked in the top 10 in the nation at one time. But there's nothing like being honored and remembered from people back home. All of you being inducted tonight, you earned it. Congratulations. And truly a very sincere thank you to the Hall of Fame Board for this honor. With that being said, I do have a few people to thank. I only have a couple of minutes. First and foremost, I would like to give thanks to God. To the young people in the crowd tonight, there will be times your life will seem unfair and hard. But trust in Him and know that there is a purpose and a reason if you seek it. So I recently watched an interview of Mike Tyson. Follow along with me here. He's a former heavyweight boxing champion of the world, where he was asked about Cus D'Amato. Cus was not only Mike's boxing coach, but also his father figure, because he raised Mike from an early age. It's known that Mike always has a hard time talking about Cus, mostly because he passed away before Mike's career took off. So because of that, Mike is quoted saying, "How did this guy know? How did Cus know from an early age I would be the best in the world?" He would tell me that. He believed in me. Then Mike was asked, if you could send a note to heaven to talk to Cus one more time, what would you say to him? And this former heavyweight champion of the world got emotional just thinking about seeing Cus one more time. With tears in his eyes, the only thing he could think to ask him was, how'd I do? After all these years, Mike still wanted his approval to make him proud. Cus was his difference maker. My difference maker is my father. Cus has also been quoted that nature is a lot smarter than anyone thinks. During the course of a person's life, they develop a lot of pleasures and people they care about. Then nature takes them away one by one as a way to prepare you for death. So while I still can, but I never did, but I will now. Dad, how'd I do? So basically, we all need someone who believes in us all the time, no matter what. That doesn't mean they're just a cheerleader. They can be hard on you. But someone who's invested in you, wants to see you succeed and believes in you. Even to this day, my dad is still coaching. Not just in sports, but in life too. Pulling out great advice, one-liners, and gems from his memory. You can't remember what he did yesterday, though. Thank you, Dad, for being you. The things that make us argue, your stubbornness, obsessiveness, intensity, consistency, and amazingly accurate, street smart advice is also what has made me successful. I love you. Mom, please don't think I forgot about you. You did all the work behind the scenes. This is a true story. She prayed so hard for me one time, she turned a rosary bead from blue to green just from rubbing it too much. I love my mother with all my heart, and I truly appreciate everything she has done to help me succeed. And I'm sure everyone will notice I gave you a few lines and Dad a whole introduction. It's similar to our daily phone calls where my dad hogs the phone to talk to me, always about the grandkids' sports, because that's all he thinks about. And you get 1 minute before I have to go and hang up. I love you, Mom. And I know that you love all of us more. So in conclusion, I could not have been successful without others around me who were supportive. However, and I'm sure most of you athletes in this room can relate, to say that all my coaches and teammates were great would be a lie. But to the ones who believed in me and my friends, who believed in me and were my friends, you share a part in this induction. To my daughter, my angel who watches out for me, my best friend, and the one I can't help but tear up with pride and joy when I watch you pitch in softball. You're the sunshine that lights up my life. God truly smiled down on me the day you were born. With all the gifts you were given, beauty, intelligence, kindness, I know God has a great purpose for you. I love you. To my son, my protector, who is so funny and loving. You amaze me with how you make hard things look easy. You have played on the best of baseball teams. You earned a starting spot in football this year. You'll get in the boxing ring with whoever coach will tell you to. I have so much pride in watching you. I can't wait to see how far you'll go. I love you. And to my husband, who has been handed the reins of supporting me, and sometimes threatens to take me back to my parents, there is no one else I would want to have in my corner and do life with. You're an amazing provider and protector, husband and father. I love you, Dale. So in the end, with a verse from the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 4 states, 2 are better than 1. If either falls down, one can help the other up. So I encourage everyone here tonight to be in someone's corner, to be someone's cuss. It really does make all the difference. Thanks for listening.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
Anybody that follows sports, especially football in the AK Valley, knows that Freeport by far is the winningest football program in the history of the AK Valley. In fact, they celebrated their 100th anniversary of football this past year, and one of the stalwarts was Jackson Reiser. Jackson was the Valley News Dispatch Defensive Player of the Year, and whether you know it or not, he played much of the season on one leg. He had a knee injury that would cost most players the season, but Jackson hung in there and had a fantastic season, as did his football team. Jackson Reiser has a 3.2 GPA in the classroom. Athletically, he's first team all-conference in the Allegheny-Kiski 2021 and 22, first team All-Butler County 21 and 22, Allegheny-Kiski Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Co-Defensive Player of the Year last year, and of course we mentioned Valley News Dispatch Defensive Player of the Year. He was Comeback Player of the Year for Armstrong County and a team captain. His hobbies include basketball, golf, outdoor activities, spending time with friends and family. Organizations he belongs to: Freeport Leadership Council, the Senior Advisory Council, the Freeport football and basketball programs. His volunteer activities include breast cancer Real Men Wear Pink fundraiser. He assisted in raising close to $30,000 for breast cancer awareness and research. And he is a camp counselor for local youth basketball and football camps, and his future plans are to attend a four-year college and major in business. Jackson, do you have any breaking news for us as a college you want to attend?
Broward University.
Broward University, down in Florida? Okay, very good. Best wishes to you. Jackson Reiser, Valley News Dispatch, Defensive Player of the Year. We've had a number of great soccer players over these many years in the Alle-Kiski Valley, and our next inductee, Stefan Lundberg, is among the best. All he's accomplished in the high school, the collegiate level, and he's one of the few local athletes to make it in the pros in pro soccer, playing for a while with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So let's welcome our next inductee from Kiski Area High School, Stefan Lundberg.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the board for this great honor. Thank you to my family sitting at table 9, a couple at table 8 over there too. I have my parents are here, my father-in-law, my wife, my brother, my sisters-in-law, and my uncle and aunt who treat me and my brothers like sons. And of course my own sons, Gunnar, Gavin, and Landon. Griffin's at home tonight. But I've been blessed with a tremendous support system, beginning with my parents, who sacrificed incredible amounts of money and time to make sure I took advantage of every opportunity for success. Those monetary sacrifices to be a part of countless tournaments, traveling in teams, was an investment that led to a full ride scholarship, a pro career, now a 12th career of running a fitness center and training athletes. Overall, we're approaching the break-even point very soon, I hope. But in all seriousness, the accomplishments of my playing days were the investment and stepping stone that allows me to do what I love most, and that's training young athletes and helping them realize their dreams and goals. This is an experience I get to share with my brother, who's also a co-owner with me at Legends of Pittsburgh, and also my wife, who's a standout lacrosse player who came. We also get to train our own kids sometimes when they cooperate, and hopefully they'll carry on the legacy. And I don't mean to make this all about my gym, but if you do mention this speech at sign-up, you will receive 50% off your first month membership. Passing the torch on to the next generation of players is what it's all about. And I remember when I was 14, I was invited to a college showcase soccer event in California, where players from all around the country were there. And there was 3 of us from Western Pennsylvania. One was a 17-year-old who was being recruited also for a kicker in football, and he was trying to decide which sport to choose. And me, being wise beyond my years, I told him, soccer is the most popular sport in the world. It's the fastest growing sport. You'd be crazy not to do that. But he ignored my advice, but he chose football. And I saw in the paper last week that he makes around $20 million a year. But you probably heard of him. He's a kid from Plum named Pat McAfee. But if he had listened to me, he'd be making enough to at least be still living in his parents' basement. But looking at the number of soccer players in the Hall of Fame, there's not a lot. We probably could have rode here together on a motorcycle, but the game truly is growing in popularity, and there's just so much talent in this area. And me and my brother are blessed enough. We get to train so many athletes. 2 of them are being honored tonight, Caitlin Killinger and Ryan Haynes. We've had an opportunity to train them during their blossoming careers. And this is my early nomination for both of them to join the Hall of Fame one day. My hope is that they and other players we've had a chance to coach and train are not only recognized for their talent, but they also feel moved to make a positive impact on those players and continue to pass on that torch. Thank you very much.
And speaking of soccer, let's call on the Valley News Dispatch Male Soccer Player of the Year, Ryan Haynes from Deer Lakes High School. Academically, Ryan carries a 3.7 GPA. Athletically, he was the 2022 WPIAL Class 2A Player of the Year, along with being the AK Valley Male Player of the Year. He was a 3-time All-Section Selection, 2022 Section Player of the Year, and twice All-WPIAL. Organizations he has contributed to: the Hotspurs Soccer Club, and this coming fall, he will be attending Slippery Rock University for soccer, and he will be majoring in safety management. From Deer Lakes High School, Ryan Haynes.
Thank you, sir.
We have about 8 sports represented tonight with our 10 inductees, and one is cross country and track and field, and someone who has really earned accolades in those particular sports. From Highlands High School and Duquesne University, he's also served our country and served her well for many years. Let's call on Thomas Slosky as our next inductee.
Thank you, I appreciate it. First and foremost, I believe I should probably give thanks to God in this moment in time. One of the reasons being I'll be ordained as an Orthodox priest, and so just a thought on there. I want to also thank the AK Valley, the whole community, and also the Hall of Fame. Obviously, what a wonderful celebration they're putting on today, and I want to congratulate all the other inductees too. It's a privilege to be with you here. Also, I want to thank Highlands High School, all the staff, especially the Fosters, Tom Abbott. Wonderful, just a wonderful experience. Duquesne University, so many staff members that helped me kind of push through with school and just do so many different things for me. And obviously, some of my coaches, Brian Delsite, aka Dilly, and also Jim Later, aka Killjoint, so many different names. I want to thank all my family and friends here present, and also all around the world, and also those who passed away as well. A lot of people would say I'm not a man of many words. Okay, nobody would ever say that about me. But that being said, I have many accomplishments and many accolades that I have done over the years. But the one thing here that I want to point out is, although I have all these accomplishments, there's stories that go with that. So one of the things I want to point out is there's this time my mom and we were at Fairmount High School up in elementary school in Brackenridge, and we would race back and forth in a stop sign stop. Now she's in a car, I'm running. I don't know, I was like maybe under 10 years old, but the thrill of running, that excitement and being tired, that really got going for me as it started my athletic career. Although I was in other sports, there's something that was different about that. So thank you, Mom, I appreciate that. My sister, I can remember, we were going to Penn Relays, and we were driving a van from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. This is the high school championship for the 3,000 meter. I placed 6th there, and it was really relaxing. Me and my sister were just joking around in the background, punching each other, or making fun of each other. I remember those moments that really drove me to stay calm and collective, to find myself the ability to have that relaxed nature going into races. So thank you, Angela. I got my Uncle Scott here as well. One of the favorite moments I ever had with my Uncle Scott, we were on my aunt's roof, and it was, I don't know, 110 degrees, and we're just laying down more roofing, and he just looks at me and goes, I haven't slept in 48 hours. I was like, nice. At that moment in time, that reminded me of the driving nature to get something done. So thank you, Uncle Scott. there's so many others, and my aunt, actually the roof we were doing, she came to one of my races. It was a 5K at Bucknell University. I didn't run as well as I did, but her and her husband Joe, who's passed past couple years, we ate at a local restaurant, and just the encouragement of knowing that I could bounce back. So thank you, Aunt Phyllis. Tom Cascone, and also my Aunt Star. I don't know how many spiritual conversations that we've had that's brought to me to this point. My priesthood, and also my driving nature within with running. So thank you, I appreciate it. My uncle Chris, my Aunt Lori, the encouragement that you gave me back home, reading me in the papers, shooting me text messages, giving me a call, or just even like at those moments at holidays, just reminding me of just how proud you are. That kind of reiterated continuously of the accomplishments that I made our family proud, the Slosky name. So thank you, I appreciate it. You know, my father, as I look at him, we had some disagreements about me running. He thought I should play football. And he had good points, but I didn't feel that way. And it drove me to saying that, like, my running will take precedence, and I believe in myself. That was that driving nature that made sure that I was going to make nationals. And I was a sophomore at North Carolina A&T, go Aggies. And I remember sitting there, I was about to finish the race, and I ran the 3,000 meter steeplechase, so there's a big water pit, and after 7 laps, and you're about to hit the last water pit, I'm not going to lie to you, that water pit gets deeper and deeper. And I made it through, and I remember thinking of my father, that driving nation. I call him right after, and I thanked him for those moments of maybe having a little bit of doubt. So thank you, Dad. As I look as well into the crowd, I see Tom Abbott. Tom Abbott made me sit and talk to a man named Mark Schwartz who could talk your ear off and then some. He convinced me that cross country might be my best shot, and gave me a book that I pass on to other runners called Once a Runner, and shows this man that wants to break 4 minutes from Florida, and that really set my idea of college is the next thing I need to do. So thank you, Tom. Kill joint. I don't know how many trips we had together. Me taking multiple naps across the United States, missing, plenty of states on the way, and just talking your ear off about my passion about running, and you being that individual that allowed me to grow in the sport in a way that I never could imagine. And sitting there and not just giving me suggestions, but being as a father figure, I appreciate that, and I can never give enough thanks to you. So thanks, Killjoy. Chris Catoni, buddy of mine, we played football in middle school, and then up in high school, and I left, and you were nothing but supportive. And I don't know how many phone calls I got when I was on a plane somewhere. Tommy boy, where you at now? And I would sit there and we just shoot the breeze and talk about everything under the sun. And you were nothing but supportive when I left football. No, we couldn't play catch anymore. You were still one of my best friends, and to this day. So, Chris, I appreciate it. And my wife, Rachel, even though you weren't part of my actual running career, you were part of my coaching career at Duquesne University. And how many nights where I was gone on the weekends and complaining about X, Y, and Z athlete wouldn't step up and using particular language I probably should not say here today. But that being said, you were nothing but supportive, nothing but loving and caring. As I continue on to my other journeys into my life as a priest, as a chaplain, and as a counselor, I couldn't ask for a better wife. I'll shut up now. But these stories are my legacy. And I have the ability, and such a great legacy, because of these individuals around me, and many more that I am not mentioning tonight. But one of the things I want to end with is I would inspire others, like my son Cyril. Hi, baby. And not also just my son. Other individuals like my nephew, Cash. Cashman, there you are, buddy. I hope one day that I'm able to sit in their seats and watch them speak about their accomplishments, their grades, who inspired them. So I thank everybody here taking the time to listen to this, and hopefully that one day that I'm able to watch others continue in a way that will allow them to see greatness, not just through my words, but also through some of my actions and also the other ones around me who inspired me to get to this point. Thank you.
Well, the Valley News Dispatch Girls Soccer Player of the Year, we have a repeat winner coming up. Caitlin Killinger from Plum High School. Academically, Caitlin has been on the honor roll all 4 years in high school. Athletically, she was all section for 4 years, all WPIAL for 3 years, and all state her junior and senior seasons. At Plum, she scored 88 goals and had 45 assists. Her hobbies, skiing and hanging out with her friends, organization she's involved in, the Plum Yearbook and the Best Buddies organization. And in the future, she will be continuing her academic and soccer career at the University of Pittsburgh. Caitlin Killinger from Plum High School.
Thank you.
We are so happy this evening to have some former inductees join us for our 52nd Awards Banquet. And as I call your name, and would you please stand, and if we could, for the sake of brevity, hold our applause until all have been introduced. First of all, Diane Haney, a 2022 inductee. Bill Dillon, a 2016 inductee. John McLeod, a 2015 inductee. Brian Jacob, a 2019 inductee. Dave Furman, who was inducted in 2015. Jim Perry, a 2007 inductee, is with us tonight. Tim Basilone, a 2005 inductee, is here tonight. Larry Lutz, you've seen him come back and forth from the curtain here. He's our chairman and a 2016 inductee. Tom Stabile, all-time great NFL official from an inductee in 2001. Tom is with us this evening. And Carol Perose from Valley High School, who coached the team in the state championship not too long ago, is also with us this evening. So let's hear it for our former inductees. Thanks again for joining us. Our next inductee, when I was, before I went with the newspaper, I was still doing cable TV in New Kensington, and before our basketball games, we would take an interview with the coaches. And Terry Thompson was such a great success at Knock for so many years, but after leading Knock to the state quarterfinals, he went off to Butler High School. So the day we were going to be televising the first Butler game early that next season, I was driving to Erie that day on business, and coming back, I kept trying to say to myself, say Terry Thompson Butler, Terry Thompson Butler, not Terry Thompson Knock. So what do? I introduce him as Terry Thompson from Knock High School, until I caught myself. But he's been with a number of high schools, and he was a great player in his day at Catania and Clarion University, and he is still coaching today as we speak. So let's welcome our next inductee, Terry Thompson.
Wow, there's some hard acts to follow here. They put me right in the middle. Anybody has to go to the bathroom, I'll understand, because I have to go myself, and I'll speed it up. I want to express my thanks to this organization for inducting me into this Hall of Fame. I'm from Katanning, and then I spent the first half of my head coaching career in this area. And so it meant a lot to me. I was driving along the road there, and Sam Huey called me. I understand he's in a hospital, and any of you know might want to give him your prayers. But he called me, and I was driving. I pulled into Country Fair, and I was talking to Sam. If anybody knows me, I can get a little emotional. Next thing I knew, tears were going down my face. I think, I got to get the hell out of here before somebody sees this 80-year-old man crying in a parking lot of the Country Fair. So I did get out of it. I have an idea. I don't know who inducted me or who is responsible for this. I know how many great athletes and coaches come out of this area. So I know many of them could also be recognized tonight. But I have a sneaky suspicion Dave Furman, Dave and Tom Myers and I were very close friends. To this day, I think Tom Myers is the best coach I ever knew. And I owe tremendous amount of my success to him. Every time I had a question, even when I had the better teams up in the Erie area, anytime I had a problem or a question or we lost a close game, I'd call Tom or jump in my car and drive down there. And his sister Deanne is with us tonight, so I appreciate you coming. Deanne gave me a lot of Tom's, those old VHS tapes or whatever they are. My basement's full of them, and I still go down there playing on an old TV I have that plays them. And so many coaches in the Erie area are running, believe it or not, Tom Myers press breakers and Tom Myers out of bounds plays and things that he shared with me. So thanks, guys. Also, I want to start out here by recognizing the GOAT. You guys all know what the GOAT is, right? My wife's the GOAT. She's been with me for 50 years and supported, both our daughters played high school and college basketball, supported them, ran the book at a lot of the games and high school games. She was a bookkeeper, gave the referees a rough time, got a couple technicals herself in a day. And I really appreciate her and the support she gave me. I remember one game in particular at Fairview, a fan, we won the game, but a fan didn't like how slow we played, you know. We played a little deliberately. My teams were not up and down the court like they do today. Unless you count 38-35, I run the shoot game. We beat Hampton one year for the title, as somebody reminded me of. But I remember after the game, I looked across the way. I'm happy we won the game. She has her finger right on somebody's nose. And here it was one of my critics that was complained to the wrong person about her style of play. So thanks for their support, Ron. I really appreciate it. I did make some notes, and they're not the best notes in the world here, but I figure if Joe Biden can use these notes, I can too. You know, they're the same age. So. And that's not a political statement. I'm just saying, you know. So my notes go to my family. I got 4 grandkids here. I tell them they can be anything they can be, a point guard, a 2-man, a 3-man. But in all seriousness, my advice to them would be a good teammate. no matter how good you are, how bad you are, be a good teammate. And you notice none of my teammates are here tonight. And the reason is I shot an awful lot. And so just remember that, guys. Sometimes you do things that just help your teammates, okay? You don't have to be the star. And do what you want to do with your lives and be the best you can be at it, as one of the speakers said. Ainsley's a big dancer over there. And I just love them all. So thanks for being here. It's RJ, Ainsley, Benny, and Jack. My two daughters are TL and Courtney. They won a state championship in '98 at Girard High School. I was assistant coach on the bench. I never had that experience as a player, but they sure made me proud. Courtney went on to play 4 years as a point guard at Edinburgh. TL played 4 years as a point guard at Grove City College. And they're both teaching now. So TL coached for 10 years at Grove City High School. Just a real quick story. I know they say 5 minutes. I coached 57 years. That would be just a few seconds a year, you know? So just bear with me. I'll get done here real quick. But anyway, TL, I don't think she's hardly walking yet, and the goat sent me out to scout a game with my camera and my clipboard, and I go to some gym, I think it's Burrell or maybe Springdale playoff game, and I'm sitting up real high in the bleachers at this game. In fact, it had a picture in the local paper of us up there scouting. And about the second quarter, the middle of the second quarter, you remember those old wooden bleachers. There's a pretty good gap in those bleachers, you know? And all of a sudden I heard a thud. I looked down from my camera, and TL is on the floor underneath these bleachers. But the place is packed, and I can't get to her, so I said, TL, honey, just wait, I'll get you at halftime. That little stinker went home and told the goat, yeah, I fell through the bleachers. And Dad, he came and got me at halftime. That didn't go over too good. That's a true story. I thought I'd share that with you. Also, my sister, Carol Lorigan's here, and her two children, grown children, Aaron and Kirky. And I wanted, it's family for me. This is just a great weekend. You know, we're all going to the Pirate game tomorrow. You guys have made that possible for me. I'm really looking forward to it. So Maddie, Macy, and Miley, thanks. Kirky, thanks for your support, you guys. And then also Aaron, Lehman, Noah, and Sadie. That's my family, you know. They're all, most of them are here. And we're looking forward to the game tomorrow. I could go to the players and start naming them, and I'd forget somebody, you know. The whole group from Knock High School was here. Choked me up a little when they took a picture with me outside. Craig Hetz, Todd Durand. I can look at my list here, but I think the player I'd like to recognize, his father that came clear down here from Conneaut, is Steve. And I know Mike Blue came a long ways. People that have coached with me and everything. So coaches and players. I mean, that's what makes us successful as head coaches, you know. You have to be willing to make decisions that help the program and not the particular team you're coaching. And they've all done that for me. Kenny Elliott helped me, and I actually couldn't come up with his name. I had a senior moment out in the hall there. Kenny, I apologize for that. Just hit me. Todd Duran. I told him, hey, I tell some real good stories, but I don't want to tell them in front of your daughter. And here it's his, I just realized it's his wife. So I had another senior moment there. Mandy, I'm sorry. She just looks too young to be Todd's wife at the time. So accept my apology, you know. Other than that, thanks to everybody, you know. The AK Valley, the GOAT, my daughters, players I've coached, the parents. You've made an old man real happy. Thank you.
Before George grabs the microphone, I'd like to ask Fred Soilitz to step up, one of our board members. I've always wanted to give George Guido a history lesson, and I'm going to give you a date. February 19th, 1971. A young student at Burl High School was a commentator and a statistician at a Alle-Kiski basketball game. That was the start of a career in journalism that has exceeded 50 years. Earlier, George talked to you about Bob Tattern, who was the chairman of the board before me, and is a member, an inductee of our Hall of Fame. Bob was known as the voice of sports in the Alle-Kiski Valley. George Guido, I'd like to say he's the soul of sports in the Allegheny Valley, Allegheny-Kiski Valley. Some of you will remember we had a TV station here, Channel 3, and George was on it. WKPA radio, George was on it. Many, many years with the Tribune Review, what we call it the Valley News Dispatch, or the Valley Daily News and Daily Dispatch. And he was always there. Just, he's an author, a friend, a historian, and just a wonderful guy. And we wanted to make sure we recognize George because he recently announced his retirement after over 50 years being the biggest proponent of sports in the Alle-Kiski Valley. And we prepared, we got together and got a little plaque that you can see up there. And George, thanks so much and congratulations. George has not been permitted to retire from our board of directors, nor as the professional master of ceremonies of this event. So back to you, George.
I'm in a state of shock. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And there's so many people here this evening that I can thank that helped me along in so many ways, especially my wife Brenda, who's the biggest sports widow of the AK Valley. Usually when you're coaching, when the season's done, you spend time at home. But I was covering so many sports that I rarely spent a lot of the evenings at home, and the grass got to grow and chores around the house didn't get done. But I thank you, honey, so much, and I thank everyone here who has helped me so much. I appreciate this very much, and don't ever shock me like this again. Well, let's talk about, the season. I retired December 31st, so I missed covering the Deer Lakes rise to the WPIL championship and the state championship. But the guy who was the main contributor there and had just a fantastic season, Valley News Dispatch, Boys Basketball Player of the Year, Bryce Robson. Bryce, I told Coach Fletcher, why didn't you tell me you were going to win a WPIL? I would have hung around a couple more months. But Bryce Robson, academically, is a member of the National Honor Society, as in fact, he's vice president of the Deer Lakes chapter. He's in the Spanish National Honor Society. He's a student council representative. He has a 4.34 GPA, and he's ranked 6th in the class of 2023 at Deer Lakes. Athletically, he's varsity basketball team captain, golf team captain, 3-year varsity basketball team captain, 2022-23 Class 3A basketball WPIAL champion, and of course Deer Lakes made it all the way to Hershey, where they were the state runner-up in the PIAA Class 3A category. Awards: he was the golf regional qualifier in 2021. He had 1,258 career points in basketball. He was the AK Valley, as we mentioned, Player of the Year, WPIAL Class 3A Fab 5 this past season, along with all section first team, WPIAL Class 3A Player of the Year finalist, and the Class 3A Championship Game MVP down at the Peterson Event Center. He made the winning shot in the game against Osh, where Deer Lakes entered that game as a major underdog. Osh had won the WPIAL 4 years in a row till they ran in to these guys. And he was second team All-State in the 2022-23 season. Hobbies: he likes going to the local community center and playing various sports with friends, such as basketball, volleyball, and tennis. He enjoys golfing with friends and family, catching and release fishing at local ponds, camping, sitting around the bonfires and engaging in conversation, playing video games and socialing with friends online. Volunteer activities: the children's liturgy aide for his church, basketball camp coach, bingo fundraising for basketball, he ran a booth for a local fair, and is a youth basketball instructor. And come fall, he will be attending the University of Dayton and majoring in finance. Bryce Robson from Deer Lakes High School. Well, Riverview High School has put out a number of great athletes in the 52-year history of that school. And tonight we have with us the all-time leading scorer in girls basketball at Riverview High School. Led her team to numerous playoffs, and her records have stood the test of time now for 20 years. So let's welcome Emily Elkhorn Taylor to the AK Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be standing here tonight. I appreciate the Hall of Fame committee for considering me deserving of this honor, and my family for being here to support me. My husband and I traveled in for the weekend from Atlanta with our 3 young daughters, and although I haven't lived here since leaving for college, I will always consider this home. There was never a doubt in my mind what I would say in this speech, and that is to thank all those that had a hand in my success on the basketball court, most especially my mom and dad. It's hard to believe that 20 years have passed since my playing days. To this day, I can still remember specific plays and specific games, my pregame routine and my playlist for bus rides, and the feeling of walking into the gym before the start of the game. I was never more passionate about anything the way I was about basketball. That is until I became mom to Margaret, Grace, and Abigail. Although playing hoops has faded into the rearview mirror for me, I now have an appreciation for how much time, energy, money, and emotion my parents devoted towards my basketball ambitions. All the while balancing the demands of full-time jobs, maintaining a household, and providing the same level of support to my 2 sisters. They never missed a game, despite having 3 kids and activities seemingly at the same time. My mom always had my favorite meal, spaghetti and meatballs, on the table for game nights. Now that I'm a parent, on nights when having 3 children can feel overwhelming, I can truly appreciate the sacrifices my parents made and hope I can do the same for my girls. While I didn't pursue playing basketball beyond high school, I took from the experience valuable life skills and many fond memories of my time in a Raider uniform. Success seldom materializes on its own, but rather comes from hard work, passion, and dedication and if you're lucky, an incredible support system behind you. I can still see my grandmother, a fixture at my games well into her 90s, who often doled out hugs to many people in the stands, quietly whispering, "Go, Emily," from the bleachers. My wish is for my daughters to find something that they truly love and pursue it with fierce determination, and that I will be there to support them the same way that Bob and Ruth Alcorn, along with the rest of my family, were for me. Their investment was vital to my success, setting an example for what it means to be a great parent. My dad is here with me tonight, and I can still remember him telling me 3 deep breaths and no fouls before heading off to a game. I still chuckle when I think of him sitting alone somewhere in the bleachers, by choice, not to be bothered while focusing intently on the game. He can also take credit for teaching me how to do a left-handed layup and coaching me to my one and only career championship in 6th grade. I have memories of my mom fetching rebounds for me in our driveway, and I recall her watching every game from behind the screen of a video camera, so I would have game film to send to colleges. She passed away nearly 8 years ago, and I'll always believe that I inherited my passion for sports from her. To this day, anytime I'm watching an exciting game, I still have an urge to text her and receive some comment about how Ohio State gets all the calls, or there's too much time left when the Steelers have a big lead, or that the Penguins are going to lose to another bad team. So, although I never used those tapes to land a basketball scholarship, I'd like to think that she would be very proud tonight. Thank you very much.
To put together an event such as this takes a lot of work from a lot of fine people, and I want to recognize our board of directors of the AK Valley Hall of Fame. You met a couple of them already, including our chairman, Larry Lutz. Also with us tonight, Tim Basilone from Springdale Township, Sean Stevenson, the athletic director at Freeport High School. Sam Huey is not with us this evening. He had some surgery this week, but he's on the road to recovery. Bill Heasley, over here at Table 1, has done a great job for us. Fred Solis has done an outstanding job for us, garnering corporate sponsors and helping with the reservations here tonight. Diane Haney, inductee last year and a new member of our committee who's doing a fine job. And backstage, you can't see her, but she's done a great job with the video and still photograph screen, Courtney Udanis. So let's hear it for the Hall of Fame committee members who've done a great job this evening. The person over on the far table, second from the left, you may or may not recognize him. It's Tom Phillips, the much decorated coach of the Freeport High School volleyball team. 18 straight section championships, 7 WPIAL championships, and 2 state championships because he's not wearing his good luck hat. So let's introduce our next Hall of Fame inductee, the bareheaded Tom Phillips.
I brought my hat, George, just for you. Well, hello everybody. I want to start by kind of starting the same way that Terry talked about behind every good man there's a good woman. And I've had the wonderful pleasure of being married to a very dedicated person, my wife, that has been very instrumental in my program for 23 years. She has been everything from a voluntary assistant to a JV coach to a scorekeeper. You know, it's just one of those things that anything that you ask, she was always there to support. My hat's off to her for what she has brought to my career. You know, we had such a stellar year this year. it was one for the record books for sure. I know that a lot of my players and a lot of our Freeport Nation is here today, and I'm so thankful to see everybody here. I want to talk a little bit about my life. I am a Freeport graduate. I graduated from Freeport in 1971. I tell people that I bleed blue and gold. I have, and I'm very committed to my program. But it didn't always start out that way. As a high school senior, I was a dirt track race car driver. And for 15 years of my life, I lived at Lernerville Speedway, and I thought my forte in sports was going to be through auto racing. I thought I was going to be the next Dale Earnhardt. That's kind of what my father instilled in me as a young boy. As a probably 9 or 10-year-old kid, he always wanted me to be a race car driver. And he would go and buy these old cars, and we built a little racetrack behind my house, and it was my life. It was my life for 15 years. After my father passed away, after 15 years of racing, I gave up racing and started a family. Got married in 1986, and my wife and I, just looking for something to do, started playing co-ed volleyball. A lot of my former players that I played with, one Bob Hostler is here tonight. We used to go and play 3-4 nights a week. I really got a love for the game of volleyball. And I started playing co-ed stuff, went to a men's travel team, just became infatuated with the game of volleyball. I was playing sometimes 3 and 4 nights a week, and my good friend Ike Eisenberg came to me and said, "Tom, you really need to get involved in the high school program." And I looked at him and I said, "Ike, are you serious? Coaching high school girls?" Him and I had coached Little League baseball. We coached a 8 and 9-year-old team, our sons, and we're very successful with it. But he said to me, "Tom, if I get you an interview, would you at least go on the interview?" And I said, "You know what, Ike, out of a friendship from you," and Ike has always been a mentor to me, somebody that I have always looked up to and had great respect for, a terrific, terrific athlete at Freeport. I said to him, "Yeah, Ike, I'll go." I went on the interview, and 5 days later, I was the coach of the Lady Jackets. And I thought to myself, what the hell did I ever get myself into? I walked into the gym, I had 36 girls looking at me, and I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. But in 2001, when I took over that team, the very first thing that I did, I took them in the gym and I said, "Listen, I saw you guys play. I came to some of your games. And the very first thing that I want to tell each and every one of you is that everything you've learned about volleyball up to this point," and all these eyeballs were looking at me, and I said, "I want you to forget." And they were like, "What?" I said, "We're going to do things totally different." And we have at Freeport. I've been so blessed at Freeport to have 22 years of great, great athletes that have bought into my system and really performed admirably. I've had great parents. I've had great administrators and administration at Freeport who was so 100% behind me. And that's what it takes to build a program. This year, we have 3 of our girls here that were on that in 22 state championship team. Ava Soilis, Josie Russo, and Grace Beach. We worked hard this year. We worked very, very hard. But what a year it was for us. We won our 18th straight section title. We won our 7th WPIL title, and we went on and won the state championship. Our second state championship that we had won, our first being that in 2017. But the thing I want to say is that it takes a village. It takes a village to build a program, a successful program. We have that at Freeport. We have that. I just want to relay a real quick story. When I took over this program in 2001, my son was a 9-year-old at Buffalo Elementary. And when I took over the program, he would come to all my open gyms and all my games. He was very instrumental in helping out as a ball boy. And he got to know all the senior girls. He rode the bus. They would take him in the back of the bus, and you know, he would go to football games, and his buddies would walk around the Freeport field down in Freeport, and all these senior girls would come up and say hello to him, and his buddies were like, "You know that girl?" And he said to me one day on the way home, he said, "Hey Dad, how long are you going to do this?" I said, "Well, Jared, I really don't know." I said from the outset that as long as I'm having a good time and I'm enjoying myself and these girls are learning, I said, I'll stay with it. Why do you ask? He said, "Well, I'd sure like you had to stay in it for at least 6 more years till I'm through high school, because I'm having the time of my life." So, you know, I want to thank just so many people in my program. My assistant coaches, my JV coach, Claire Kreitzer, who was come into my program a couple of years ago, her brother, Grant Kreitzer, you know, Coach Don Dell, who was very instrumental in our team this year, and so many players, you know. Our program is a very successful program. Our middle school kids just got done competing their middle school program. Both our 7th and 8th grade teams this year were undefeated at 12-0, and our program looks awful strong. You know, we want to take that run back. We want to defend that state championship that we got this year. But as a coach, I am just so thankful. I want to thank the good Lord every day, and I do, and I truly mean that. In 2019, I had a massive heart attack. After our state championship in 2017, I got really sick. I was diagnosed with double bacterial pneumonia. I spent 6 days in the Butler Hospital, and after that, they found out that I had some issues with some heart issues. In 2019, I had a major heart attack. That probably I shouldn't be standing here today. I really shouldn't. I said to my cardiologist, "Dr. Kusik," I said, "could have I died over this thing?" And he said to me, "Tom, 80% of the people that went through what you went through, 100% blockage on the coronary artery," he said, "they're not here today." So I look at my career and I look at my life as having a second chance, as starting over. It's made me a lot more humble. It's made me, I guess, a little more passive and a little more caring about little things. But every single day that I wake up, I thank the good Lord for giving me the opportunity to see my grandkids and to watch my family grow. I want to thank my son Jared, who's here tonight, who, once again, because we don't have boys volleyball at Freeport, he, just like my wife, was somebody that would do anything that was needed, whether it be a ball boy or assistant coach or anything that was needed. So it's been a family thing for me, but It takes intelligence and hardworking student athletes to buy into a program with no reservations whatsoever, and parents who encourage their children to do the same and to do their very best at all times. It takes belief in each other, a camaraderie, and a belief that the coaching staff is working every bit as hard as the athletes at times. People say to me all the time, they say, Tom, how do you just year after year come in and just reload and come back with another, stellar team? And I'll just say this, the formula is pretty easy. I live my life in the gym. I dedicate a lot of time and effort along with my staff. I have great kids in my program. I know that after my heart attack in 2019, it happened on a Wednesday morning. And on Sunday, I had an open gym scheduled. And a lot of people were saying, oh my God, what's going to happen to the volleyball program? Coach had a heart attack. Well, when I left the Butler Hospital Saturday morning, I told my wife, take me to the gym Sunday morning. She said, are you crazy? I said, no. I don't care if I just sit in a chair. I preach to these girls day in and day out that you gotta be tough and you gotta be dedicated. I went to that open gym, I sat in a chair, and I showed my players that I was as tough as they were, and I wasn't about to give up on them. I feel like I got a lot left in the tank, and I'm certainly, after winning the state championship and the WPIL, my wife said to me, Tom, wouldn't it be a great year just to think about retiring? And I said, yeah, it might be for some people, but I'm not ready to do that. I want to carry on. I want to keep going. Like I said, I coach the middle school program, I coach the high school program, and I got a lot left in the tank here that I want to give to these kids. I love my job at Freeport. I love the Freeport community, and I love all the parents that have brought to me such great athletes and great kids. And with that, I'll say thank you very much. Okay, all right, thank you.
And I understand we have some members of the 2022 state champion Freeport volleyball team here. Ladies, would you please stand? Let us recognize you. And now from something happy to something somewhat of a sad duty this evening. Since our last banquet, we have lost 5 members, 5 former inductees who have passed away. One, Frank Minnick from Vandergrift, a 1998 inductee. Warren Reidinger of Oakmont and Riverview High Schools, a 2012 inductee. Jimmy Oberdorf of Leechburg, who started that streak, which is still sustaining 36 consecutive seasons in WPIL softball playoffs. Fred Sigorik of Leechburg, who was very instrumental in, as an athlete and also helping us get sponsors for many years in the Kiski Valley area. And Chuck Gugino, the Harbrat and Highlands coach, all have passed away in the past year. Could we please have a moment of silence for our 5 former inductees who have passed on? Thank you very much. One athlete who could not be with us this evening, Julie Spinelli of St. Joseph High School. Julie was the Valley News Dispatch Girls Basketball Player of the Year this past season. Julie has been a 3-year starter for St. Joe's, and she eclipsed the 1,000 career point mark this past season, en route to becoming the Valley News Dispatch Player of the Year. She was a Post-Gazette Class 1A Fab 5 member, and a KDKA Super 7 finalist, and a 1A third-team All-State squad. So quite an accomplishment for Julie Spinelli. We'd next like to welcome Cooper Hornak from Borough High School, the 2023 state champion in wrestling, 127 pounds. Cooper Hornak of Borough. Cooper is a member of the National Honor Society of Borough and a two-time Pennsylvania Wrestling Association All-Academic Team, 2022 National Wrestling Coaching Association High School Scholar All-American, and he has a GPA of 4.10. Athletically, mentioned 2023 Pennsylvania State Wrestling Champion. In 2022, as a sophomore, he was 4th place in the state. In 2021, he was the runner-up of the state. Two-time WPIL Wrestling Champion, two-time National High School Wrestling All-American, and 2021 Westmoreland County Wrestling Champion. His hobbies include snowboarding, jet skiing, and lifting weights. He belongs to the Student Government Association of Borough High School, the football team, and the track and field team, and he wants to continue wrestling and attending a 4-year college. From Borough High School, Cooper Hornak.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, if you notice one high school name prominent so far this evening, Deer Lakes High School. Well, this year, or right now, we have another Deer Lakes alumna who will be part of our induction into the AK Valley Hall of Fame. Let's welcome two-time WPIAL track champion, Carrie McKinney Mills.
So, when I got the call from Sam Huey before Christmas that I would be inducted into the Hall of Fame, of course he called my mom first to let her know. And she's been telling me approximately every 2 weeks, you have to get this speech written. You need to be prepared. So, I always listen. And on my way down here on Thursday, I started jotting some notes down, just so I would be prepared. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate everybody that's being inducted tonight. It's an honor to be included with such an accomplished group. I'd like to thank the board and the Hall of Fame directors who put this all together for us. I know you do this year after year, and it's no big deal. It's something that almost feels maybe rote or mundane. But to everyone standing up here tonight, this is one of those things where we'll remember it forever. It was a surprise to get called by Sam telling me I was an inductee. I was surprised and excited and even in a little disbelief that something that happened 20 years ago would be something that would still be remembered. I really thought that my shot at standing here tonight would have fallen short of the finish line. And if anyone who knows my last day of racing for high school, I fell 5 feet short of the finish line to win the state championship for the 400-meter dash. So you know that Linksys system where they catch the runner in all their glory across the line. Mine was a 4th place finish with a hand that stretched all the way to 10th place. It's maybe something you didn't know, and hopefully you didn't, because you can't take my award back. I know that some people said that they think that they know who nominated them, and I know for sure who nominated me. It was Sam Huey. I know that he's having some health complications, and he couldn't be here tonight. I really was hoping that he would be here so I could thank him personally. 23 years ago, I met him playing basketball. He was the time clock, the keeper. And he was the person that I would go and I would chat with before every game, before warm-ups. I would go and I would have a chat, and we became friends. And it was because of that friendship that I made with him why I'm standing here right now. I would also like to thank, obviously, my parents, my mom, my dad, my sister. You showed up and you supported me. You believed in me so much that I had to believe in myself. I remember I played softball my entire life. And when it came to grade 9, ninth grade, I could have played softball. I knew that I would sit the bench. I'd ride the pine. So I thought I would try something new. And there was never a point in time where my parents and my sister didn't encourage me to try that. They were always there. There was never a soccer game they missed, a basketball game they missed, or a track race that they missed. They sat at Whitfield finals for hours on end, state finals, hours on end, freezing cold, hot sun, it didn't matter. They were there all day long. And my mom used to joke, I sit here all day long to watch you run for 2 minutes. Thank you. I also want to thank all of the AK Valley coaches. A few I see here tonight. Even though I ran for Deer Lakes, I became good friends with Coach Dillon, Coach Lerone, Coach Cariotis. It was like a family. After every race, I knew that even though we were competing against each other, you would always have a pat on the back for me. Tell me good job, even if I won against your runners. All of my coaches throughout my career at Deer Lakes had positive impacts on me, but most importantly, the man, the myth, the legend, Lou Nellis. Thank you so much. You were the one that prepared me. You coached me year after year. You gave up your time before and after school. The entire time you would travel all the way from Black Hawk to do swimming in the morning. You would teach us all day long. You would stay after school. You pushed me to be better. Each person, I believe, has a different way that they can be encouraged, and you have to figure out how that works. Some people like love and coddling and affection. Some people like to be yelled at and told do better. You were able to figure out how I ticked. You were able to make me realize that there was something inside me that I didn't know was actually there. I had the easy job. The gun went off and I just had to run. You had to train me. You had to make sure I was ready. And thank you. I would like to also thank my husband, Brian, and our 3 kids. You work your butt off so that I can be at home with the kids and I can fulfill my dreams of being a mother. I can be at their school trips. I can chaperone things. I can volunteer for their hockey teams because all 3 of them play hockey. That's what you do in Canada, I guess. Thank you to my kids for thinking I'm pretty cool and bragging to their friends. Numerous times they say my mom's faster than you. And I'm not gonna lie, I have raised a child. And I won. I didn't realize this until arriving this evening, but there's a group of people that have traveled all the way from Toronto to be here this evening. And my three best friends from high school, who throughout your life you only have a core group, and sometimes they're your group from high school, your group from college, your mom friends. I've been living in Canada since 2008, and every time I can come home, I can count on them at my mom's front door. Thank you for showing up, all of you ladies. So every one of the people mentioned are a piece of my puzzle, and everyone has their own puzzle. Without everyone mentioned, my puzzle wouldn't be complete. So thank you for building my puzzle. Also, do we get to learn like a secret handshake after we're done? Is there something cool that we get to learn? Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for your time, and thank you to my family, friends, for showing up tonight.
Hey, Carrie, one more thing. If you're in the mood for another surprise this evening, I have with me a proclamation from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania House of Representatives. The House of Representatives of Pennsylvania is always pleased to recognize those citizens who, through their outstanding achievements, bring great distinction upon themselves, their communities, and this Commonwealth. Whereas Carrie McKinney Mills is being honored upon her 2023 induction into the Alle-Kiski Valley Sports Hall of Fame, listing your accomplishments. And now, therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania extends heartfelt congratulations to Carrie McKinney Mills upon her most noteworthy achievement, acknowledging her investment in skill and effort in competing on a level which demands perfection. So a copy of this citation, sponsored by the Honorable Rob McCurry, State Representative of the 28th Legislative District, May 9th, 2023, becomes transmitted to Carrie McKinney Mills. Next, let's meet a state swimming champion from Kiski Area High School, Parker Sterlitz. Winner in the freestyle this year. Parker is a member of the National Honor Society of Kiski. He's on a high honor roll and a Scholastic All-American. He's been varsity swim team captain for 2 years, 4-time letterman, USA Swimming Scholastic All-American, Junior National Qualifier, WPIL champion, team and individual, state champion, Westmoreland County champion, also team and individual, Allegheny Mountain Senior Select Team Qualifier, 7-time AMS Zone Team Qualifier, Allegheny Mountain Swimming Record, 3 Kiski Area School Records, 2 in the relays and 1 in the individual, 1 WPIAL record in the 400 Freestyle Relay, 2-time meet medalist, and an 8-time ISCA Senior Cup medalist. His hobbies are hanging around with his friends, playing basketball, and going to the gym. Organizations, the Allegheny Mountain Swimming Age Group Committee, and an ISCA intern, and he volunteers giving swimming lessons. He's in the Kiski Key Club, and he coaches swimming, and he plans on going this year to West By Golly, Virginia University to swim and study management and information systems. From Kiski Area High School, Parker Sterlitz.
Thanks for making us proud of you, man. I appreciate it.
Our next inductee, when we go over inductees who have applied and people that we want to make part of the Hall of Fame, we look not only at their athletic accomplishments, but their accomplishments in the corporate world. And boy, of all the people that have come out of the Alle-Kiski Valley, our next inductee, Joseph Galli, not only accomplished so much in wrestling, he helped put Valley High School on the wrestling map in 1976. He also wrestled for North Carolina. and led the Tar Heels to the 1980 ACC Team Championship, and won, of course, the team championship on his own as an individual. And he's been the CEO of such companies as Rubbermaid, Amazon, and now Tektronic Industries. So let's welcome to the Hall of Fame, New Kensington's Joseph Gallagher.
Okay, well, I'm enormously grateful to be here with you this evening. It's funny, last week a reporter called and he said, Joe, I just saw you were indicted into the, inducted. It's a long night. Inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. And now you're fortunate to be inducted into the Alle-Kiski Hall of Fame. How do you compare these two honors? I said, are you kidding me? I was inducted into the National Hall of Fame in 2016. 7 years later, it took me to crack the Alle-Kiski Hall of Fame. So I'm feeling pretty darn good about this recognition. Actually, what's really special is this is home. And to be recognized by the people that you grew up with it's difficult to explain how powerful that really is. I was inducted, I know exactly why here. John Boucher, my best friend in the Pittsburgh area, I know fought hard to get me up here tonight. John, it's just a funny story because I met John on a wrestling mat. He was an opponent from Highlands High School. And funnily enough, here I am because an opponent, for whatever reason, decided to support me. So John, thank you very much. I'm here because of my mom and dad. My father passed away in 2008. My mom, my family and I visited her this morning. She's 94, and she hasn't lost a step. But the two of them created an environment for me to overachieve. My father was born in Harlem. His dad died at the age of 35. He ran a scrapyard. My father dropped out of school, ran a scrapyard for 50 years. And my father had some interesting ideas about training for wrestling. So every summer I would work out like crazy at the new YMCA in the morning, weightlifting. I'd come and work in the scrapyard for 6 hours. And Dad would say, okay, son, what I want you to do today is move the brake drums, all 3,400 of them, from that end of the scrapyard to this end of the scrapyard. And he said, well, Dad, last week I moved it from over there to here. He said, I'm not looking for an input, move the brake drums. And you know, the exercise was quite good. You know, my mom is a wrestling mom personified. So when I was a junior in high school, I was having a hard time making weight. And so I used to yell at my mother because I'd sneak up in the middle of the night, go to the refrigerator, drink the orange juice, come back, I'd be overweight in the morning, and have to work out again. So Mom decided finally enough is enough. So she put a sleeping bag on in front of my bedroom and a bell on the door. So when I would sneak out of the room, the bell would go off and she said, get the heck back into that bed and don't drink the orange juice. So she was really tough. I have to recognize my sister, Julie. My mom once scolded her because I used to practice my moves on my little sister, and she would start crying, and my mom said, Julie, will you stop crying? Your brother has to practice his wrestling moves, which I don't think was very fair. So, you know, I'm incredibly fortunate. My wife, Cindy, has been with me a long time. She's not only the best wife in the United States, she's a terrific mother, and she became a wrestling mom. Perhaps in the beginning a reluctant participant, but became very good at this particular requirement in our household. My first wife, Becky, was an amazing part of my team. When I graduated from college, Becky helped me make the transition from wrestling mat to the corporate arena. She became a world-class wrestling mom, and she's done a great job as a mom, friend, and part of our incredible family. My greatest achievements, people ask me about achievements, and my greatest achievements are here with me tonight. My three children have made me look good. Brittany, my oldest, my daughter, who went to the University of North Carolina, has been a rock star mom, wife. She happened to work at Amazon.com and GE and Under Armour, and now she's at Hoover doing just an incredible job in the corporate world while raising three kids. My oldest son, Peter Galli, ended up being a better wrestler than his father. Hard for me to admit, but he did go to Stanford on a wrestling scholarship, and he was a three-time academic All-American and Scholar Athlete of the Year at Stanford. And our youngest son, Xander, also is at Stanford. He's been there. He's decided to move on from wrestling and focus on things like academics and making money someday. And so anyhow, Xander has not made a B yet at Stanford, which is, I understand, pretty tough academic standards in this school. So anyhow, those achievements are pretty special. Now, you know, when I was in high school, my senior year, I somehow won a series of wrestle-offs, and I was selected to represent the WAPIAL and the Dapper Dan All-Star match. So I went against a kid that was 46-0, three-time Ohio State champ. Unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Press, the Post-Gazette, et cetera, all predicted every match, and I was, of course, predicted to lose. The coach said, you know, Joe, if you just don't get pinned, we'll have a better chance. And, you know, this is not very motivating. So anyhow, I was losing 12-4, and I pinned the guy in the second period. And right after that, the University of North Carolina head coach, Bill Lamb, who became my second father in college, he came up to me and he showed me a piece of paper and it had a scholarship offer for the Ohio State champ. And he scratched the kid's name off. He said, I want to meet you at Tambellini's restaurant. And I'm going to talk to you about going to the University of North Carolina. So I guess I wrestled my way into a nice situation at North Carolina. Now the problem in North Carolina is that I made, for 3 years in a row, I finished third place in the ACCs. I lost by 1 point 3 years in a row in semifinals. This is pretty humiliating, you know. So finally, after my junior year, my coach said, you know, you work so hard. In fact, you outwork everyone. How can you go out there and lose? You know you're in better condition. You put more effort in. He said, you need to rethink everything so that you can finally go out as a winner. So, you know, it reminded me of a Bruce Lee quote. Bruce Lee famously said, I fear not the man who practices 10,000 kicks. I fear the man that practices one kick 10,000 times. And I finally applied this, and I had one move. It was called a cradle. You lock the guy's head up and knee, and once you get it, the match is over. And I just practiced that cradle hundreds of times a day. And my senior year, sure enough, I had a chance in the ACC finals to wrestle the number 3 guy in the country. If I don't win and pin the guy, we don't win the tournament. So I did, fortunately, pin the gentleman in the cradle. And, you know, I walked off the mat and realized I just achieved my personal goal. I never thought I could do it, and I did it. But it was 5 times more important that the team won that tournament because of that win. And I learned something very special from that experience. So as I moved on from college, I've been through incredibly exciting, crazy roller coaster career in the business world. And I wouldn't trade any of the experiences for anything. I've made every mistake you can make, and fortunately I've been successful and got myself to a point where I think I'm starting to get pretty good at this CEO business. But people ask me all the time, what advice do you have, Joe, when you look back? You went through all these challenges, all these successes, all these different things in your life, and what would you share as some advice? And so there's a story I relate from medieval times, and it talks about this enormous job site with 3 stone cutters chiseling away at a stone. And there's this traveler comes along, and the traveler asks the first stone cutter, sir, excuse me, what are you doing? First stone cutter says, I'm chipping away here at this stone. Traveler asks the second stone cutter, what is it that you're doing? Second stone cutter says, well, I'm shaping a cornerstone. So the traveler says, okay, I'm going to ask this question again. He goes up to the third stone cutter, and he says, sir, can you tell me what it is that you're doing? And the third stone cutter puts down his hammer and his chisel and looks at the traveler and says, I'm building a cathedral. Now, all 3 of them are doing the same thing, but the third one's building a cathedral. So as I think back over years and years of wrestling, years and years of business challenges and successes, you know, to me, I think of all these experiences as not individual challenges, individual wins. It's all part of building that cathedral. Because when you look back at life, what is it that you've achieved? And that metaphor has always helped me keep perspective when things get tough. And especially keep perspective when you think things are so great that you're invincible. So anyhow, I once again am incredibly grateful to be part of this group of inductees into this Hall of Fame. I love Alle-Kiski. I grew up in New Kensington. I know Valley High School was sort of despised by many of our rivals, and I'm very proud that we achieved something special at Valley, and it's helped me launch an amazing life and build an amazing family. So thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Yep, my pleasure. Thanks.
Our last two student athletes of this evening are from the Cager Classic. They were selected as MVPs, and our Hall of Fame has enjoyed a close and fruitful relationship with the Cager Classic over the years. Let's first meet Jimmy Kuntz from Highlands High School. MVP of the Cager Classic. He's been on the honor roll in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. Athletically, he's a member of the WPIL basketball 4A championship team as a freshman in 2020, and member of basketball section champions in 2020 and 2021. First team All-Section the last 3 years in basketball. First team All-AK Valley also the last 3 years. And 5A, Class 5A Fab 5 in 11th grade. First team All-Section 10th and 11th grade. First team All-Alle-Kiski Valley baseball in 11th grade. He enjoys traveling, fishing, and hiking. He's in the National Honor Society and the Gifted program at Highlands. And his volunteer activities include the Beast Mode at Highlands Elementary, Toys for Tots, food drives, and the Polar Plunge. You don't have to worry about that on a day like today. But future college plans, he will be attending Eastern Michigan University to play baseball and study pre-med. From Highlands High School, Jimmy Kuntz.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ryan Porch of Butler High School, another Cager Classic MVP, can't be with us today. He was on the honor roll at Butler in 8th through 12th grade. He was chosen most improved athlete in track and field. He was the Butler Triathlete Awardee and the Ed Harmon Award. Also at Butler, he's a 3-year letterman in golf and won the Varsity Leadership Award in golf and the most improved in golf and most improved in basketball and the Coaches Award in basketball. Ryan enjoys hunting and fishing, and in future plans he will be a civil engineer at Pitt Johnstown. Ryan Porch. And let's meet Claire Rogers from Hampton High School, another Cager Classic MVP. Claire is a member of the National Honor Society at Hampton. She's on the high honor roll and a senior scholar athlete. She was a second team All-Section in basketball, team captain for the Talbots, and as we mentioned, Cager Classic MVP. Hobbies include basketball, working, being with her friends and family, and volunteering. Those volunteer activities include coaching elementary school basketball, delivering meals with Meals on Wheels, helping with hippotherapy for children with special needs. Her future plans include attending Penn State University to major in pre-medicine. From Hampton High School, Claire Rogers.
Good job. Good luck.
Thank you.
Olivia Donnelly from Mars High School is playing in the Roundball Classic out of Geneva College this evening. She was on the high honor roll at Mars and a member of the National Honor Society. First team All-Section basketball this past season. And she's been on the section championship at Mars and the WPIAL and state playoff qualifier. She was a Slippery Rock High School tournament MVP this past season, and as we mentioned, in the Roundball Classic. Well, our last inductee this evening will be continuing a brother act. From Leechburg High School, Mark Lamandola will join his two older brothers, Ron and Randy, in our Hall of Fame. So let's welcome from Leechburg High School and Allegheny College football standout, Mark Lamandola.
Wow. My mom said, make sure I speak up. Going last, it kind of reminds me of my favorite line from a movie, and my favorite race car driver, Ricky Bobby, says, if you're not first, you're last. And my mother gave me some advice tonight. She said, to be brief or be funny, preferably both. And I'm not much of a comedian, so I'll try to be brief. My family knows I tend to ramble a bit, so I'm going to stick to the script. It's probably more for your benefit than for my benefit, so we can all get out of here. First, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. Your accomplishments in athletics and in life are impressive and inspiring. I'm honored to be among such an esteemed group of people. Second, I'd like to thank the AK Valley Board and Selection Committee for this humbling recognition. With so many great athletes from this area, I can only imagine how hard your job must be. No disrespect to other team sports, but I believe that football is the ultimate team sport. Any measure of success requires all 11 players to be moving in unison, each with a specific job and responsibility, requiring an incredible amount of timing and trust. There's no other sport like it. To accept an award for my individual accomplishments on the field has to be shared with so many others, starting with my teammates, both at Leechburg and at Allegheny College. Names you may or may not recognize, like Paul Shalava, Curtis Laszlo, Bill Carroll, Mark Adams, the late Red McKee, my center. There's always a special connection between quarterback and center. And last but certainly not least, Scott Aiello and Joel Sarasso, both who are here tonight. Not only are they my teammates, but they are also my very best friends. We've faced many challenges together, both on the field and off the field, and I'm grateful for their support and friendship. I was fortunate to have great coaches, men that not only knew the game, but were also men of real character. Role models for me and my teammates. Men like my head coach, Larry Signetti, who surprised me this year tonight. He's cut right out of the Signetti family coaching cloth. I think I might have implied in the article in the paper that we weren't all that exciting to watch or we weren't all that creative. But there was this one game we were playing Avonworth, and we were losing. We were undefeated at the time, and I think Coach scrolled up a double pass on the sidelines, and my good friend Scott came in and told me what to do, and a long story short, he threw his one and only touchdown pass, and we remained undefeated at that point. So he was creative when he needed to be. The other coach at Leechburg was the offensive coordinator, Tony Catnese. He was a great motivator and encourager. Besides my parents, I think Coach Catnese was probably the first person who truly believed in me. No challenge was too big. He never allowed me to dwell on the past, good or bad. We still keep in touch, and every conversation leaves me a little lighter and a little bit more encouraged, just as it did in high school. Playing 3 different sports in high school is not really encouraged these days. During my time at Leechburg, it was. All the coaches got along. Larry Ondeko was my basketball coach, and some would say that his aggressive drills rivaled Coach Signetti's Oklahoma drills. But I learned a lot from playing basketball from Coach Ondeko about persistence, execution, and doing things the right way. He had a real impact on me, and as an athlete and as a person. I was recruited to play defensive back in college, as they already had a pretty good quarterback. I went to Allegheny drawn, like my older brothers, by a great coach and an even better person than Sam Timer. Coach Timer was old school, a man of real character. I can see why my parents wanted us to be around such a great person. Those are formidable years for any young man, and I feel blessed that he was my coach and role model. Unfortunately, he left after my sophomore year to become the quarterback's coach at Boston College, and the opportunity to coach Doug Flutie, if you know who that is. So from Randy Lamendola to Doug Flutie, it wasn't much of a step down, but I guess he felt Doug really needed the help. Like many of you, I grew up in a small western Pennsylvania town, a great community tucked in the Alle-Kiski Valley. Leechburg is not the wealthiest or most glamorous of towns, but it is full of really good, hardworking people that are passionate about Friday night football. I am grateful for their support they gave me and my teammates, and they still give the team today. Lastly, I'd like to recognize and thank my brothers and sisters and my parents. Having older brothers meant that at an early age, if I wanted to tag along, I better develop a thick skin and learn how to play with the older kids on the block. And they never left me behind, and somehow I always ended up on their team. We were each other's biggest fans. My younger sisters, Gina and Kathy, who are both here tonight, were then and are today a source of incredible support and encouragement. It didn't matter whether we won or lost. They were always waiting outside the locker room with kind words and a big hug. I was blessed to grow up in a loving home with two wonderful parents. They never missed a game, and they never let us get too high or too low, keeping both successes and disappointments in perspective. My mom is the real Hall of Famer. She did it all. From pregame meals, and we have one special meal too, to post-game parties, she is the solid rock of our family. My dad, who passed away a few years ago, I'd like to think he really would enjoy being here tonight. The lessons that they taught us are too many to name, and I'm already over my 5 minutes. My journey through football has led me down some amazing roads. And after football, some even more amazing roads. And I'm lucky to have my beautiful wife and 2 of our 4 children here tonight. And I think some parents might agree with me, as much as it's fun as it is to play the game, watching my kids play takes it to a whole new level. Following my parents' example, we try not to miss a single game. And Kate, hopefully we have a couple more girls lacrosse games to watch this season. Thank you.
A Springdale football player congratulating a Leechburg football player. Now, if this isn't Brotherhood Night, I don't know what it is. I do want to mention, before we all scatter, that we do have a Hall of Fame gallery with recognition of the 51 previous induction ceremonies, and as of now, we're going to have 392 people in our Hall of Fame. The gallery is located at the Murphy Building in downtown Trenton on Corbett Street, right by the railroad tracks. So if you'd like to stop down, it's the second Thursday of each month between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock that the Hall of Fame gallery is open. And we invite you to stand, come on over and take a look at the plaques we have on the wall, action photos, some of which you've seen here this evening. And to conclude tonight's program, let me call on again for the benediction our chairman, Larry Lutz.
Very low budget operation. We have a lawyer get up to do the benediction. Thanks so much to everybody for this wonderful night. Thank the staff at the Pittsburgh Shrine Center. Thanks to George, and congratulations on your retirement. Wonderful thing. And everybody say a prayer tonight for Sam Huey. God bless you all. Have a safe trip home.